What do you make of Oscar Delahoya's comments on him saying, you don't know your boxing, the promoters don't know their boxing because you pushed Bivol into Canelo?
Well, I think to think that Canelo Alvarez will let me make the decisions on his career is a bit naive of Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya says a lot, but, you know, I mean, the greatest sort of lesson you can learn from those comments is, you know, don't do drugs, kids. I think that's like the basis of those. But Oscar De La Hoya was a tremendous fighter, and he does know. He definitely knows more about boxing than me. But I do not have any say as to who Canelo Alvarez fights. Him and Eddie Reynoso will choose the fights. He was a big favourite against Dimitri Bivol and got beat. It's boxing. But what do you want? You want a champion not to take any tough tests? I mean, we should be applauding and championing Canelo and Alvarez for continuously wanting to test himself outside of his comfort zone.
Those are the words of Eddie Hearn once again as he finally responds to Oscar De La Hoya in his charismatic, nonchalant, educated way of doing things. He tells Oscar De La Hoya, don't do drugs. Don't do drugs, kids. Because that's what you will end up doing. You end up doing things that you mostly regret. Now, I'm not really into, like, you know, Oscar bashing, because I know everybody has their own things, so I don't do that. But at some point, let's be realistic, at some point Eddie Hearn had to say something regarding Oscar De La Hoya, because, you know, you have I know this is the second time that Oscar, probably it's more than that, but, you know, this is the second major time that Oscar De La Hoya has blatantly come out, forwardly come out, and blast Eddie Hearn on certain decisions that he's made promotional wise. And the first one was with Joshua Usyk. You know, he said that, you know, Edward Hearn destroyed Anthony Joshua's career, ruined his career, you know, that type of shit. And that was the first time. The second time, of course, now the Canelo Bivol. And like I told you guys, like Eddie Hearn said, who the hell is Eddie Hearn to call the shots for Canelo Alvarez? Okay, that's what I told you guys then. This is before I even seen this interview. You know, shout out to the Boxing Voice, you know, that for conducting this interview. And Canelo is a cash cow. He makes his own decisions. He always has. He made the choice to choose the DAZN deal over the PBC deal. He made that decision, not Eddie Hearn. Counterpunch. So I don't know what Oscar was talking about. But, you know, the way he dug at Oscar, you know, the counter below that belt, kind of. Because, see, Oscar De La Hoya would be different if he doesn't drink, he doesn't do whatever he does, otra cosas. But he does. He does nonetheless. He still, you know, you'll see him on live with his girlfriend, you know, buzzed, wasted or whatever, drunk, you know, and he just starts talking shit. And that's when he made that comment about, you know, Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk, how Eddie Hearn has ruined his career. So I'm like, is it about the fighters or is it about Eddie Hearn? Which one is it? Because it seems to me like Oscar De La Hoya is only saying that, only making these comments because of Eddie Hearn. And we all know Eddie Hearn is working with a fighter that is the cash cow still, that is the highest paid still, you know, that he was with Golden Boy. So you can see the potential on why Oscar De La Hoya wants Eddie Hearn out of there. You know, but if you leave yourself open for a counter, you're going to get countered, and Eddie Hearn countered. Why? Because at some point you get tired of hearing the same shit from the same people. Or, you know, like Oscar had no right to say that. He just said that because he's mad. But get your ducks and get your life together because people will leave you wide open. Now, he could have done a lot more, which he didn't. But at the end of the day, I feel that Oscar De La Hoya does say a lot of things, and a lot of times he is under the influence of whatever, But yeah, fair play to Eddie Hearn for saying, "Hey, stay off drugs, kids," because he wanted that aware. Like a lot of times, Oscar De La Hoya be popping off and running his mouth, and he's not all the way there. He's under some type of influence. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Eddie Hearn responding finally to Oscar De La Hoya in his criticizing comments to himself. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.